Good afternoon. My name is Niko House, host of the political radio show Mikasa Sukasa, and I urge you all to join our One Follow $1 campaign, where we show the mainstream media that we do not need them anymore, and that we will support our independent journalists who are bringing us the unmitigated truth without that corporate influence behind the scenes. Now, I want to talk about some huge news that happened today. For some, maybe it was a little unexpected. For others, it's exactly what we expected. And that is that the DNC has had a major shakeup in leadership. Essentially, Tom Perez, although he went on this unity tour with Bernie Sanders, although they have a unity committee to talk about how to bring the party together, despite the fact that even after Keith Ellison lost, he did try to give him some nominal position, arbitrary really, as like assistant chair or something to that extent. It was a fake position, I'm gonna put it like that. Even after a couple of days ago, they wrote a resolution talking about how we should support Bernie Sanders in whatever way we can, which I immediately called from the beginning. I said that's BS. I don't know, pun intended with the BS part, but I did immediately sense that that was BS and that something bigger was to come, and something has. In fact, they just did a huge shakeup with the leadership positions. Now, for those of you who have been involved in politics a little longer at the functionality level, now you probably would say, well, it's not surprising that they do a shakeup, because it seems like every other year they're doing a major shakeup in leadership to a degree, which is true. However, the other side of that fence is all the people who were affected by this were pro Bernie Sanders and pro Keith Ellison, and people who are traditionally left out of shakeups were also affected. For example, the DNC Secretary, she was actually for Keith Ellison, and so because of that, she was fired, let go, and it's not traditional for that to happen, especially without at least the DNC chair talking to them and explaining why they're moving on to a different person. Now here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. Now, obviously, everybody's aware of the beef between Demexit and Dementor. I don't tend to choose a side because I think they both have their usefulness. And plus, I'm a journalist, right? You shouldn't be choosing sides. You shouldn't be aligned with any political party if you're a journalist, but that's neither here nor there. But this is a huge blow to Dementor. Let's be very clear about that. We can make all the excuses we want to. Dementor at the state level with places like California and even New York, to a degree, has been working famously. So that is true. Now, the issue is, how do you get into the national conversation outside of being Bernie Sanders-esque? Outside of working for the Young Turks? Like, these are conversations that the Dementor people need to have, and if they want to have any opportunity to prove that Dementor is actually going to be an effective campaign. Clearly, Bernie has made it obvious that he has intentions on running 2020, and I think this really more so solidifies the fact that he has intentions on running in 2020, because now this is also where I will tell you, if you think that he's sheepherding for the DNC, you clearly don't understand, once again, how sheepherding works. I'm not saying that there are not sheepherders in the DNC. Cory Booker being one, Elizabeth Warren being another, obviously Donna Brazil's, John Lewis, those type of people. Those are sheepherders. Bernie Sanders is playing a dangerous game where he doesn't know if he can win. However, he was at least planning on running in 2020, and they made sure to ensure that the committee that creates the rules and the charter that they're currently being sued over right now has overwhelmingly Hillary-esque supporters, establishment supporters, those who want to ensure that after they change this charter, that it will not be changed back. They want to be able to continue to cheat at the national level. And even if we affect even if the Dementor people affect people in the Democratic parties in the state levels, the truth of the matter is that national level is hard, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Ellison likely got cheated That's what a lot of people are speculating, is that he got cheated out of his position as DNC chair. You know, obviously there's a situation with Kimberly Ellis in California where she got cheated very clearly. And I mean, the conversation goes on and on and on. I'm not saying that Dementor is a total failure, because it's not actually. But I'm not saying that, you know, that Dem Exit is a failure either, because they have now some conversations they need to have with the Dementor people. Like, look, we told you, which is true. Like I said, it's not to be not like to have any animosity towards the Dementor people, but there's some realizations that I think they don't want to admit. They're legitimately something like this. They can just fire people when they feel like it. Why? You had a unity committee. You had you know, Bernie Sanders on this unity tour. You have every incentive to assist Bernie Sanders in his efforts to run in 2020 because you know he can win. And yet they're clearly showing they want to be able to crown their next candidate. And it's a high probability and a very high likelihood that they can end up preventing him from running. If they have total control over the Rules Committee now. So we'll see how that goes. Keep track. I think this is huge. This isn't just huge for the Democrats, by the way. This is huge for politics in general, because that means on the other side of the fence, the Republicans, even though they tend to be more of that alpha male type of situation, or on that side, it could happen there. It could happen in the Green Party. It could happen any time. We need to be paying attention to how things play out in the Democratic Party in order to prevent those things from happening in the future. I would love to know your opinion on this. Like, share, comment, hit that notification bell. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance.